If you don't know me, I love art. I've been a scrapbooker since 1995, 95, stamping since 96. And then stamping led me to discover this. I've kept a regular journal since I was 9. I have 18 volumes on the shelf of dribble. Even I can barely stand to read now. It's kind of fun. But journaling for me is a very natural thing. That said, I'm also a stamper, so I make cards. I'm a scrapbooker, so I make scrapbook pages. And I like it a little funky and different. I'm normal on the outside and a little weird on the inside. Not a little, a lot weird on the inside. Diane says, "You hide your weird well." I'm like, "Thank you, my friend." But all these techniques, I don't know, whatever your poison is, whatever you love, if you're jelly printer, if you make fabric, if you art quilting, whatever you do, these techniques are kind of good for all. Okay? You can find a way to apply them to everything because paint has so many awesome applications. So I love Ranger. The first ink pad I ever bought was an Adirondack ink pad, and I'm so pleased and thrilled and pinch me and excited to be with Ranger. So when I was asked, what do you want in your line? What's your ideal? Well, paint, duh. And I also said I need gesso. So gesso is such an important part of my process because I call gesso underwear for your art. You can get by without wearing your underwear, but something is not right. It will hurt you. Something will chafe. If you want your paint to be the proper color, if you want to use less of your paint, if you want it to move better with your brush, you need that gesso layer. I've been in class with Diane while she's teaching, and I've heard her tell the group, "You don't need gesso, put your gesso away." And I'm like, but she's exactly right for what she does, because if she gessoed first and then made her backgrounds, they would pastel out. They wouldn't be vibrant, and that's what's so awesome about what she does. But I use so much acrylic paint at the beginning, and acrylic paint needs underwear. Okay, so gesso, so feel that it might be a tiny bit wet because I put it on a little bit ago, but fondle that. You can feel how it gives it a little grit to the page. Okay.
Brushed it on the whole page.
Yeah, and I don't go to the edges because I'm lazy, but I also always apply gesso with a palette knife because gesso's sticky, and I have issues with cleaning things. I'm not so hot at the housework, okay? So I like to apply it with a knife so I can scrape it down really thin. It dries quicker. It makes your gesso go further too, and I don't worry about getting to the edges and every little bits and bobs. And then this is how you clean your knife. You just wipe it on your apron. Okay. So gesso is important. We have black and white gesso. The last group's like, when would you use black? The answer to that is yes. Black gesso is really cool. It has a chalkboard finish. You can write with the white pen on it. It looks outstanding. And black will amplify and make the bright colors pop even more. So try it. I mean, try it. Try doing a couple of pages with the black, and it's just a different look. And it's just cool and fun. And heck, why not? So when I was asked, well, what do you want your paint to be? I sent a list of, not requirements, but wishes. And one of my wishes was that it is heavy body. And what I mean by that is when you squeeze it out, that it stays in the bead. Okay? So you've got that paint there, and it's going to hold its form. So if I left that for a day, well, maybe longer, it would dry like that. I need it to be able to hold the bead, because that way I can see a brush stroke. I can write with the end of my brush in the paint, and it will give me yummy texture. And that's what I like. I'm a repressed abstract expressionist. I should have been born in the 50s. Well, should have been painting in the 50s. I should have been friends with Pollock and Frankenthaler, because I just love that. I love the big brush strokes and the expression. So that's what I wanted it to be. That said, I also said, can you please make it smooth out really well? They're like, oh, seriously? You want heavy body and it needs to smooth out? Yes, I do. And they did it. So try.
Wow.
Try. It's like butter. Isn't that cool?
Really? Yeah. It has a good shine to it still.
And it kind of knocks down to a matte finish. Not a matte finish, but a satin finish. I didn't want it to knock down really, really super matte, but I didn't want it super shiny because it's really hard to write on something that's shiny. If you've ever tried to write with a pen on, glossy paint, it doesn't work so hot. So anybody else want to try? It just spreads like dream. Okay. Isn't it lovely? Okay, so it spreads nice. And of course that gesso's helping it spread. Also the brush is helping it spread because the brush is a stiff bristle brush. So this was my requirement for my brushes, that I needed them to have a spring. I needed them to push back at me a little bit because I like to brush through my stencils a lot. Remember in 1983 when everyone was stenciling ivy on your bathroom wall? You used those really short, stubby, round brushes so that you got less seepage and you would kind of pounce them. You guys are probably too young, but anyway, the stiff bristle brush will work a lot better than a soft, super soft one. Okay, so I like them to give me a little push. I get more control with a bristle that's stiff. So these come in a kind of a wide and a small flat. This is my most used painting brush probably. So any of the faces that you see over there, I've painted with this flat. Now that said, that the brush that you love is so personal. I was teaching in Australia, and there's this famous Australian artist in my class. First of all, I'm like, why are you in my class? Because that's really intimidating, but she was so lovely. I mean, she was fabulous. And I would say, well, I paint with a small flat. What do you paint with? And she would say, a round. And I'm like, oh. And then I would say, I love heavy body paint. What do you love? And she would say, fluid. And so that's the great thing about what we do, that there's no right or wrong way to do it. You use what you love, and you kind of, so I've got you covered. If you love a round, you also have a medium and a small round in the line as well. And I do use these for the detail for painting eyes and things like that. It's just nice to have an assortment. So they come in a 4-pack, and then you can buy them singly as well.